Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the To Hull and Back podcast. Good evening to everyone who's listening live, and then good morning to our Australian listeners, as I'm delighted to be joined by Alex from the Hull City Down Under podcast, and then the standard people as well, Will, Ant, and Christian. And I'm your host, Nathaniel, and we bring this episode to you from Old Slodger Bar. Well, not physically, but they're our proud sponsor. So, we'll have a lot to talk about. We're going to be doing our pre-season predictions as well. Not our predictions on how pre-season is going to go, how our predictions are looking pre the season. But the pre-season, I'll probably touch on that as well. Today, we've just had our last match, a very creditable draw against Getafe. And we've beaten Sunderland and we won the 5 previous games before today. Things, especially in the last few weeks, we had a positive podcast last week. We might have another positive one today. Things are looking up, aren't they, guys?
Yeah, of course they are. I mean, pre-season. I mean, when have we had one like it?
Yeah, off the pitch, things are so confusing at the very best and bad at the very worst. But on the pitch, we've not really had a better pre-season that I can think of in terms of encouragement, and we're not overspending, of course, and the manager looks like he knows what he's doing and is well liked, and there's an organisation. The results been good on the pitch. I can't remember one as positive, so it's a bit of a confusing time to be a City fan, really.
It feels like 2 different teams, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the feeling, isn't it? You've got so much positivity on the pitch and everything kind of to do with the squad itself from the management side of things downwards. And then you've got the club side of it and the board and the ownership and things like that. But I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some people in there which are doing an amazing job with getting certain players in, which we'll touch on throughout, obviously. But I guess it's one of those clouds that I've just had to hang over City. I mean, come on, it wouldn't be all City if we didn't have some sort of controversial thing going on over the summer with it. So we've had to add something going on there. So, but on the pitch, as you've just stated, Nathaniel, absolutely buzzing. I think we can all say we've been really attracted, excited over what we've witnessed so far. I've been entertained myself personally. I don't want to speak for everybody here because I'm sure everyone has a different opinion, but I've really enjoyed watching the football. Including today. I mean, today was completely different compared to the other games. I don't feel as today we were as, I don't know, as kind of drilled as we were in the previous ones. But then again, the opposition that we were playing was La Liga. They're a very, very good team. Let's not kind of take that away. And for the first 25 minutes, we were really, really good. Really good. I thought we could have got something in. And we hung out. Defensively, we look just as good. Even with the changes in the different back four. Completely, really different back four. Extremely positive from what we've seen on the pitch. I think the players look completely different, and I don't just mean the style of play. I actually mean mentally, as in you can see it in the faces that they look a hell of a lot happier. It comes across that way anyway, unless someone in the media department's absolutely pulling magic out the hat and just showing all the smiling
Tree Tails.
Yeah, Tree Tails was great. Exactly. San Dave the dog, was it? It was. I've really enjoyed this pre-season this summer of the lads. It's been refreshing. It's been encouraging. I'm excited, and I guess because of how we are, I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Well, steady on.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. Alex, of course, last time we spoke to you, we weren't under a transfer embargo. We are now. Hopefully, of course, we've got the hearing next week. We won't be too much longer, though I think that's maybe unlikely it'll be overturned completely. So how did you react to that? Did that come as a shock to you?
Yeah, so I think a lot of this, well, it's hard to say because I think for a long time now, there's been a lot of skepticism, healthy skepticism, or concern perhaps about the level of spending that we were doing under Ajun. And I think club accounts had been showing that whilst we were spending a lot, it did seem to be being done in a measured way. I think the biggest concern for me was that as much as I was concerned about the losses that we were potentially making and the unsustainable nature of Ajun spending, I thought, look, you know, we've got all this money in for Philogene and Greaves. At least from a cash flow perspective, we seem to be okay. I think The Athletic did a piece where they actually revealed that we've already received all of the funds for those two players, which was probably the biggest concern, biggest red flag for me, because when you look at the outstanding transfer debts and you think we don't actually have a significant income still to come to actually fund those, that's when you look at a club like a Sheffield Wednesday, where you look at wages not being paid, where you look at other debts not being met, that you can really, really quite quickly end up in quite a significantly concerning position. So I think the stuff with Louis Barry, the stuff with Finn Burns, you know, debts not getting paid, and then Ajun sort of clearing those debts quite quickly, at least shows me that the cash is there potentially from Ajun's perspective in the short term. So we'll see what happens with the hearing and whether the transfer ban gets reduced or eliminated. The thing that confuses me about it all, we were talking just before we went to air about McBurney and the potential wages that we're offering him. And I look at, theoretically, the EFL is saying to a club like us, you can't spend $500,000 on a permanent signing, but you can offer a free agent $40,000 a week, which would be equivalent to a £2 or £3 million signing, which it doesn't quite make sense to me that it's not a limit on perhaps either the overall package that you can offer a player or an overall squad spend. Like, it seems much too simplistic a thing to say. It's a blanket ban on transfer fees, but you can offer wages of whatever you want. Because I think, for example, of Louis, it's really a really great example where this sort of blanket approach is really detrimental to players, where we only spent $400,000 or $500,000 on Louis, and maybe he's on $5,000-$10,000 a week in wages, significantly less than we'd be offering to McBurney. But this guy's stuck in limbo, so we don't really know if we can register him or not. So the quicker that we can, and also the fact that they can initiate the punishment so quickly, but then take so long to hear the appeal and actually make a decision is just really unfair. I think either it's a case if they say it's in effect for this summer, no matter what, perhaps it can be lifted for January, which we'll hear, you know, coming up to January, or if they're going to, you know, enact it quite quickly, they need to have a really quick appeals process. It's just, you know, look at like Crystal Palace as well, trying to get their Europa League place as well. They come up with these decisions quite quickly, but then take so long to hear the appeal, and it's really unfair on clubs.
Will, I think you wanted to jump in on there, because I think...
Did I?
Well, it looked like you were going to. You might know more than me, but the situation with McBurney is that I think we've offered him maybe 20-25 grand a week. So
I couldn't possibly comment on the wages, but I can tell you that you are giving you a. I'll just say that's a low number. That's all I'll say.
I'd heard higher.
No, the club were under a cap, but it was kind of a overall budget cap from the EFL. But they're no longer under that. They came out of that at some point earlier in the week. I'm assuming Monday or before the Sunderland game on Tuesday, because obviously we saw Rendala and Vermeer were finally announced at that point. But it was earlier in the summer. But now they're not under it. And the belief initially, I heard that the belief was 2 windows. They get reduced to 2 windows, but the club's quite confident in the idea that maybe it might be 1 window, and maybe there seems to be an increasing confidence around certain areas that suggest it might get scrapped altogether, which is interesting. It suggests that the club has actually booked its ideas up, if that's the case. But it's hard to say at the moment. It's still all up in the air. It depends how the EFL look at things. We won't find out till next week. No matter what it is, we won't find out till next week. But when we do find out, we'll know where the club stands and we'll know where to go forward. To be honest, personally, I feel that this transfer window, at least on paper and how it looks, has been one of our better transfer windows overall. It feels like the club's been a lot more astute in its transfer signings, its loan moves, it's more shrewd in the sort of players it's been going for, and that is obviously partly because of the restrictions placed on them. Because you do get the feeling at times that if there weren't restrictions on them, Adjun maybe would have done what he's been doing previously, which is going for players who are pretty unknown. I mean, a few of the players we've got are unknown, but they have some experience of some form in English football for the most part, apart from one or two. It does feel like we've kind of benefited from the restrictions in the end, which is a weird thing to think about in hindsight, because we should never be under them in the first place. The club shouldn't be running that way. But it might have massively helped us in the long run.
I'd like to think so, certainly.
Saving a gym for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Alex, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. It's like they're on about the tail. It might get restricted. It might get reduced, the windows. But the way we're actually operating as we are with the restrictions, I won't mind it staying in place, to be honest, in a way. in a way.
The EFL. It's one of those, isn't it? We have to thank them for this.
Part of me thinks that if this is a way to make us sustainable, why don't they just have this as a blanket system for all clubs in the league, where any deal has to be ratified by the league, and that way clubs are all sustainable? Like, that doesn't sound like such a bad outcome.
Well, I imagine
that could end up being something that comes out with the new football regulator in the long run. Yeah. You never know.
Surely all deals have to be ratified, but more so, well, of course they are, but I think even if it was to be completely scrapped, I still think that there might be an element of them keeping an eye on us for the next few windows. Maybe they have 3 windows of, this sort of, I'm trying to think of the word. Well,
monitoring, I guess. Because didn't TAB say until recently they were having to check all our deals because they, in his words, didn't want us. They thought that they didn't want to think that we were being run by crazy Turks or whatever Tan said in that press conference, in that Q&A, where I thought up until maybe a window or two ago, I thought they were having to ratify all our deals anyway. So it's kind of wild.
I think the club were being looked at for a while before the sanctions came in, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were paid not late per the rules, but later than expected.
I mean,
months ago, weren't they?
There's been suggestions that some of the clubs we haven't paid money for go back as far as when Rossini was here.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's true or not, can't say. But there's suggestions of that. So it does suggest if that's the case, the EFL have been looking at us for at least well over a season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely reported that the Barry one was seen as a last sort of straw, wasn't it, rather than the first one, which is why I don't think that they would scrap it completely. But I think Oxford, they had a suspended ban, didn't they? And that was reduced to 1 window. So I think
I get the feeling the club are probably
likely,
using that as an example in their case, the Oxford case.
Of course they are. I'm surprised because Oxford and League One, I didn't think that they were sort of club that were spending any money, but I guess they were. Are we all a bit sick and tired of waiting for Ollie McBurney? Because I think we've got one day for him to decide. I mean, I'm obsessed. I'm getting all the likes I can out of that situation on Twitter. But I mean, Ant, is he good enough to wait for, or do you think that it's a good idea that if they don't get him in the next day, or at least agree to sign him, they do just need to focus elsewhere?
I think he's good enough. I think he's good enough to wait for up until the Coventry game, but the season starts soon, so we need to be knowing what players we've got and what team we've got available to play. I think someone like McBurney would suit this current system very well. We want to stick the ball in the box as often as we can, which is something that I think a lot of fans, especially all of us that go to the home games every single time, want to see more often, less of this messing about on the edge of the box and more sticking it in the mixer. And McBurney is the kind of striker that would thrive off something like that. Giles and Drama seem to have come back completely new players and look like they could provide a few assists this season to someone like McBurney. So I can see why the club wants somebody like him and why we've put so much effort into trying to get him in. But at the end of the day, we're competing with a team that's been relegated from the Premier League and have parachute payments to negotiate with and possible promotion bonuses and all that kind of stuff. And obviously his wage would go up if they got promoted, etc. So, it's hard to compete in that sense. Sheffield United has been there, done that before. He knows the club, he knows the fans and players, familiar surroundings to return to if he wanted to. But if he comes here, he's going to be our number one striker, isn't he? He's going to be straight into the starting lineup, you would imagine. But like you say, the only problem is that we don't seem very stable, I would imagine, to potential signings. When you're choosing between us and some other championship clubs, you're going to compare, aren't you? And you're going to think, right, am I going to get my wages paid every single month at this club guaranteed? Or is it 6 months down the line, I might not be getting paid and regret joining here? That's probably what's in the back of their heads, unfortunately. So hopefully this EFL verdict comes through quite quickly so that can be sorted. But like you say, I think we've definitely become more frugal, and I think bringing someone like McBurney in but breaking the wage budget would be silly. So if he wants daft money, then move on and get somebody else. But if we can get him into some acceptable wage before Coventry, then fair enough. But I believe he's only given him 24 hours, has he? As a deadline, which I like.
That's the latest thing that's come out of Sergei. Yeah. The initial EFL, I know we initially have already offered him a deal and it was turned down by the EFL. That was during the period when we was under the budget restrictions I was on about a minute ago. So no one, I don't know what those restrictions exactly are, but I think the club have offered him a similar offer. Now we're outside of those restrictions. It's just a case of waiting to see what his response is. The problem is, because of where we currently are with the whole appeal on the horizon, and we currently don't know our current situation, can we afford to keep waiting for someone? At this point, it feels like if there is a deadline, there should have been a deadline weeks ago, or like at least a little while earlier than it has been, to try and get someone else in if he doesn't come through. Because you want someone bedded in before the season starts, ideally. Stan's come in, he's apparently got a knock, but he'll probably be okay when it comes to Coventry. But he's someone who's going to have an advantage in the fact that he's already been at the club for a few days and had a few training sessions with them, whereas McBurney coming in completely apart from the rest of the squad, it might take a little bit longer to bed in. You don't know.
Yeah. I just don't know who else is out there at the moment, so I can understand why they would have waited a bit for him, because if we don't sign him, we're not going to get Freegan, because that would sort of include a fee.
The Freegan thing is interesting because it came out again today. There was it came from the Belgian press. I think it originally came from the Croatian press about him having an interview and saying that he'd like a move still to the club, but he doesn't want a loan move to the club. He wants a permanent move to the club. But the problem is, as we currently are, we can't afford that. We can't do that. So
even if we
that
weren't
deal is still somehow on in some way, at the moment, it's an impossible deal.
We can't pay €8 million for a player, even if we weren't under embargo, would we? Because that would put us under another one when we can't pay that one up.
Yeah,
you would think.
Yeah.
They'll probably, they. I just want to avoid another situation like the last summer window where we'd agreed for Fafana and then Washington from Chelsea as well. And those didn't happen because they were like our 6th and 7th or maybe 20th target. And Kiefer Moore went elsewhere, that sort of thing. Kiefer Moore, another Sheffield United player. So yeah, I think it's good that they have that deadline because we do need someone in rather, or sooner than a desperate, panic buy like someone on deadline day, or as Pedro was, he turned out okay, but that was well into September, wasn't it, that we got that deal done. So hopefully, no, not Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That will not be happening.
Even if that's a free transfer, I think his wages might be a bit much.
I reckon you could get Dele Alli's wages down for one more.
Thomas Moore's still free, isn't he?
If his options are play at Hull City for $10,000 a week or retire, I reckon you've got a chance.
What one? You get more money.
Thomas Muller's still available, isn't he, on a free?
Well, Dele Alli.
Last I heard he was coming to Sydney.
We've had enough of OAPs.
Dele Alli.
I don't know. I think I'd happily settle for Thomas Muller.
In his current circumstances, yeah, maybe.
In our circumstances as well, yeah. You've knocked on the head. You've knocked the nail on the head. It's, I guess, even with myself, I mean, even when I come to start talking about the striker situations, which I will admit I've been up and down with quite often. It is mainly just because of last season. I can't go through what we did last season and just hold off on the target, hold off on the target. Well, no, I don't actually, Nathaniel, because he's set a deadline for tomorrow. So once that deadline's out the way, at least I know we're moving on to somebody else, and we're not holding on to the very last day of the transfer market. You know, we've been after this guy for so long. He's had some on the table for so long that it's almost a running joke when you open up your Twitter feed when you hear something about McBurney now, isn't it? So yeah, look, the end of tomorrow, Tiger, no. But after tomorrow, at least I guess the fans can have a bit of closure, knowing that right, we're on to the next target now. So I think that's good communication from Sergey. I really do. And whether we get in, look, we're all going to speak about them and all have our opinions anyway before they even get to the club. So it's going to be another, I guess, interesting remainder of the transfer market whilst we're still on the hunt. But look, we've got 24 hours yet, so fingers crossed, because he would suit the system. He would, as I stated.
At the moment, really, the club's kind of operating under two different transfer windows because of the appeal thing. If they're successful, they can spend money again. So they've probably got targets set up ready, or that'll cost money, and they've probably got targets set up that, because we ain't got the money, we'll have to do freeze. They've probably got two different lists ready to go, and they don't know which ones they can use yet, really.
Yeah.
Well, you'll never see Puerta, or you'll never see a player be bought in because we'll sign Puerta and then sold immediately as quickly as what will happen when, if that was overturned. He'd be in the door Monday, and he'd be, off to Germany or Spain or wherever on the Tuesday.
So we'll allow it.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
I think the club
he'll just be in the squad.
I think the club have accepted that they're not going to get Puerta through, but I think they're going to try and keep Lalawi if they can.
But how can the league? So Puerta was signed last season on an obligation to buy if he hit a certain number of appearances, which he hit. At which point, that contract was triggered with Bayer Leverkusen, which was whilst the contract didn't take effect. Getting very deep into contract law, but essentially it just feels to me as if he is essentially our player, but we just can't register him. Rather than
it's a registration issue. It's not a where he is as a player issue.
Will we have paid for him though? Will Leverkusen have received the $3.5 million? Or
who's paying his wages?
I don't know, and I have a feeling we won't find out until the accounts for this when they get released, which won't be for another 18 months for this transfer window.
Because if he's coming on pre-season with us, in what world is Bayer Leverkusen letting? If there's any sort of doubt whether he's our player or their player, why is he coming on pre-season with us, where he could potentially get injured and scupper a move that Leverkusen might set up?
Like, it might need a button on Loshaka.
Yeah.
I've lost everyone. Odd. Well, this is the pre-season prediction episode, so shall we do some pre-season predictions?
Oh God!
Well, we've signed more players at this point than we had the last one, so it might be.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Even under embargo,
more wins at home.
Every single one made last season had an asterisk saying, "Yeah, but there's more people to come in yet," so we don't know.
Yeah, that's true. So, well, we haven't planned this one. But I guess this is just another opportunity to postpone doing the predictions properly. But Jakiewicz has been particularly impressive, I think, not just the way that we've been playing in pre-season, but also the way he comes across in the press. He's much better than Volta in every possible way, I would say. Just a quick one before we get into the others that we've planned. So sorry to put you all on the spot, but if you had to guess, we did the same for Volta last year, and it turned out that he wasn't.
Oh, you're not asking this, seriously.
Oh, well, we have to ask, because we did it last year.
Well, everyone's going to say the same answer.
It's equally as unfair. Well, no, not necessarily, because you know what Adjun's like. Will Sergey Jakiewicz be the manager this time next year?
Yes.
Why
This
though?
time next year.
Well,
You
that all
changed that. You
implies-
said this time next year. You didn't say end of the season there.
Okay, well, the end of the season then.
Yes.
It's the same thing, really.
No,
if
it's
you're
not.
saying yes.
No, it ain't, because technically Sayers was still in charge at the end of the season, but then he ain't there now.
Oh, well, he
That's
no,
what
I
we're
mean,
saying, yeah.
well, that's a technicality.
Semantics.
That's
Know
all
what you're
sort
like,
of-
Nathaniel?
Yeah, you're all implying that you think we're gonna have a positive season and stay up then.
I think he has to keep him regardless. I think that
Yeah, I think it's more out of necessity.
we've brought him in because he's shown that obviously where he was before that
That's
he
true.
can manage a football club in these circumstances and get the best out of them. And we need stability. So we've gone through 5 managers now in what is it, 3.5 years, 70 plus players. Can we just have a bit of just nice calm one season where we have no expectations? I think the only worry to it would be is that if Adrian genuinely does expect him to get top 6,
Oh, he will.
we're like
if we
15,
get
16
McBurney, he's expecting top 2.
Yeah,
He already expects top 6 as is with Joseph.
The only threat to Jurkiewicz at the minute is Adrian, and that's in terms of expectation of where we're finishing maybe at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I do think that the fans have taken to him. I think the players have clearly taken to him. I can't see any reason that he won't last the season. I think we'll have a good year. I think actually we safely stay up. To be fair, I think we're a mid-table team.
With no goals up front.
No. Yeah, no. Def
see
Stan's
that.
nodding in 20, isn't he, from Ryan Giles or something?
While I get the no strikers thing, we did get promoted under Bruce with no striker and our top scorer being Corrin with 9. So it can happen.
The disrespect to Anne McLean. The disrespect to Jay Simpson.
Shawnee Aluko with,
Oh, he was a winger. He doesn't count.
Luca would have been top scorer that season. Not injured. Same with Fryer.
He was one of those wishy-washy forwards that can play anywhere. Yeah. Who was Proshvitz? I mean, he was garbage. So
Hey, that man wouldn't have gone up, so leave him alone. Well,
maybe we would have gone up quicker if we had someone else up front.
Considering what he did after he stopped playing football, maybe don't leave him alone. Maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, so we all think he'll be here this time next year. And
barring a calamity, I think. Yeah, it's always interesting. I mean, barring unforeseen circumstances such as having his employment terminated. Yes. No, I think it's interesting. I mean, pre-season's obviously been quite positive. I think that's the big change from Volta is the player buy-in with.
That Reading game, that Reading friendly. Ooh.
And not just because of the result, my boy got injured as well.
The post match after that was rough in hindsight.
Which really just shows how far having the right attitude as a manager can go. You can talk a big game, you can be theoretically a good manager, like Volta theoretically was. But if you start off with the fans offside and the players offside, you're kind of on a hiding to nothing. So I think it'll be really interesting once the real stuff starts. I think is a good pre-season is always good to get positivity going. But if we get thumped 3 or 4-0 by Coventry, I think the mood could turn, not the mood against Jurkiewicz, but just the optimistic mood could turn quite quickly. But all we can do is, do our best. And I think to the point about, more positive tactics, I think will be a big help as well. Even if we're not necessarily winning every week, but if we're getting balls in the box, creating opportunities, I think that also helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one predicted Ivor Panda on this podcast, obviously, or in the whole fan base for him to be the player of the season last year, but he was by a mile. Is he going to get 2 in a row? Who's going to be the player of the season? I'll go to you.
I'll be quite honest. I hope Panda doesn't get player of the season again because it would suggest a similar season.
But he's busy, yeah. Hopefully he has less to do this year, certainly. I don't think he's going to be. No. Well, if you've answered first, do you wanna go first? Who's going to be player of the year?
Yeah, I might as well. I had 2 names down, but I'll go with the one because another name mentioned elsewhere. I'll go Charlie Hughes, just because. Simply put, it's a boring answer, but he is probably our best player and our best asset at the club. And for some reason, the club likes a defender winning player of the season, even in positive seasons. Just seems like law of averages, it's going to be a defender who's the most impressive in the club.
Shall we go anti-clockwise? Alex, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I think a couple of my predictions revolve around this player really recovering well and kicking on after the brilliant sort of cameo we got last season, but it's Mo Balumi, I think, for me. I think it's easy to forget or, not cast our minds back to just how exciting we were or how exciting he was when he was fit, and just how much went through him where we would just play him the ball and let things happen. And it was only 10 games or whatever it was that he played, but I think he was a real bright spark in those early games under Volta. And I think if he can get back to full fitness anytime in the next couple of weeks or month or so, I think it's just after the first international break that he's somewhat penciled in to come back.
Yeah, him and Miller are apparently, they're expected to possibly back at the first international break.
So if that's the case and he doesn't have any setbacks, et cetera, I think he could be in for a really big season.
Yeah. And?
Yeah, I wanted to try and go a bit left field and suggest someone like Drame or someone, but I always get them wrong, and I'm sick of it. So I'm just going to go Charlie Hughes and be boring. because I want to be correct, and it's probably going to be Hughesy. If he stays fit, obviously, I think he would have been mentioned in it last season, wouldn't he? If he didn't obviously have those few months out where he was injured and stuff. But if he can stay fit this season, I think probably we'll have the captaincy if Drama's playing well as well, and have that bit of extra responsibility on his shoulders. And I think he'll step up a bit and end up winning player of the season. So yeah, I'll go Hughesy.
Christian?
I'm with Alex. I think with Mo coming back, and obviously we saw how exciting he was last season. It's just a player that I think everyone's emotionally excited to see back on the pitch. And I've just got that gut feeling the expectations of the fans and what we saw will come back to flourishing. No matter the time frame of him starting, because obviously he can't start at the beginning of the season. He could start 3 months from now, and I'd still see him getting player of the season just because of what he does bring to the table. Again, I agree with what you guys said earlier about going with someone defensive. I actually had on my second side note, I actually had Ajayi down because I've just got a gut feeling that he's going to come out and just impress everybody, because obviously Hughes, as you two guys mentioned, he's a favourite. He's looking great this season. He really is. I've just got this feeling someone next to him like Ajayi is just going to be brilliant. But Mo, he just captures it for me. And when he does start scoring those goals again, how can you not give him it? Something that we're screaming out for. So yeah, I'm going Balumi.
Yeah, I'm going to be boring. I will say the obvious choice, Charlie
Ryan
Hughes.
Longman.
No, Ryan Longman doesn't play for Hull City anymore, Will. So that would
Sorry,
not
I
be
thought you were about your Wrexham player of the season.
a valid
Apologies.
answer. Oh yeah, I guess player of the season for the Championship is Ryan Longman, obviously, but we're not doing that. So Charlie Hughes. Now, of course, those are two young players. So if you've said that, I think it would be pretty pointless for us to choose the same player as Young Player of the Year. So I hope you've come with two answers prepared, because I don't think it would be right to just waste a minute saying the same player again. So, Will, do you have someone else for Young Player of the Year?
Yes, I do. And I think there's an obvious choice just because of how he's sort of captured a bit of the imagination in his first two appearances at the club. And I think the obvious one, maybe for some, is Ndala at this moment. But I decided to go left field for someone who probably won't even play hardly any games, but I think he's a really highly rated player and looks very promising. That's Cameron McCarthy. I really like the look of McCarthy. And it's going to be tough for him to probably get regular game time in any form just because of who's in front of him. But there's something about him I really, really like, and I wanted to shout him out, knowing he'll probably not play, but he deserves some acknowledgement.
Yeah, Alex?
Yeah, I think Christian and I both just had the same reaction because we both also put McCarthy down.
Oh God!
Not just you, Will. It's not just you.
Now, yeah, I was sort of tossing up between, because I sort of did take this as sort of, I guess, academy or youth player to break through.
Not regular player, yeah.
Yeah. So I was sort of tossing up between McCarthy and Tinsdale. So maybe I'll talk about Tinsdale. So we're not all just talking about McCarthy. I think last year I might have said Sellers Fleming or someone like that. And it's probably going to go the same way, where even though Tinsdale's, made a few appearances, scored a few goals in pre-season, he might not break through. But I think he's one that's been talked about for a little while as sort of being right on the cusp of breaking through to the first team. So hopefully, we always love to see those youth players breaking into the first team, establishing themselves. It's unfortunate it hasn't quite worked out to this point for someone like Jacob. He's made a reasonable number of appearances, but to have someone like Tinsdale break through, who's sort of been, on the cusp, he's been talked about for a little while, would be really encouraging.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to go for someone different?
I want to go for Ndala. I think he's going to be quite important for the first few months of the season because, yes, we've got Miller and Balumi to come back, but, they've been out for a year. So it's going to take them some time to get back up to proper match sharpness, match fitness, get back into the swing of things. They'll probably be a bit hesitant as they start. Obviously, you don't want to get injured again. And sometimes wingers don't come back the same after an ACL. So there's that to take into account as well, that they might not even be the same players. Someone like Ndala, who is quite obviously very hungry to get a chance at playing regularly at an actual football club rather than a youth academy, because he went on loan to Forest last season, I believe, where he only played in their academy rather than the first team. So he'll probably been a bit disappointed about that, but he's going to come here and he's got a chance because of the situation where he could actually play quite a few first team games and sort of nail that position down on his own. And from the brief cameos that we've seen off the bench, the 2 games that he's played, he's looked exciting, he's direct, he takes his man on, he's fearless, he tracks back, he defends, he contributes in that sense as well. So he reminds me a little bit, dare I say, of Philogene.
No, I get that. He's definitely a hint of the Philogene about him. Definitely.
He's got sort of that confident arrogance about him, but he's willing to work hard as well. And I think that's really important, especially in the Sergei team. So yeah, I'm going to say Ndala. I think he's going to have a bit of a breakthrough season.
Mm-hmm. Why are you going for McCarthy, Christian?
Well, I had again a 1 or 2 option, McCarthy and Ndala, and it was kind of a bit of a toss-up. Exactly, really, to start with Ndala. The reason why I actually left him as second is because there is a lot of competition, obviously, in all places across the pitch. But obviously, you do have the likes of Miller coming back on that left-hand side. And though he's going to be extremely exciting, he's going to be a great player to come on. I really do like everything I see with the directness of him running with the ball, taking players on, as Ant just stated. I'm really excited for him, and I do think he's got that potential to be like the young player. But when I look at the central midfield, especially in that type of area, I actually see him coming on a lot more than I think a lot of us expect. I think he's going to have to come in and fill out the gaps. You're looking at how our central midfield are at the moment, players and depth-wise. And I see McCarthy, and I think every time he's coming on, I just think, I have got no issue with this lad coming on or starting a game at all. And I think he's just going to get better and better throughout the season.
Yeah, he looks so confident on the ball when he gets it.
He does. And when a player plays like that, Will, it makes me feel better about watching City. I'm not a sense of like, oh my God, why has he brought this person on? I don't care if he brings him on. I've been really happy with what I've seen from this preseason thus far from him. And I'm actually quite shocked that he hasn't been brought into the fold a little bit earlier and into the limelight with what we've witnessed so far. So I agree, yeah, but I think that CDM role is perfect for him. The way we drop our CDM now on the attack to make it into that like 3 at the back, so our wing backs can kind of push up. It's kind of built for him, and I just see him playing that often this season. That how can you not look at him as like the young player of the season situation? But again, it's exciting to have 2 players that we can look at in that age range. and bring those attributes. So it was actually, this was probably harder than picking the player of the season for me, this one, the toss up between. But that's thus far. Something could happen. God, guys, we could sign somebody else in a week's time. That's another youth game from somewhere, and we can change again. But as this moment in time, yeah, McCarthy for me.
Yeah. Well, I think we've already got one in Ndala. I think, and that's exactly what he looks like. He seems like Philogene. You compare him to Kamara, and I just considered maybe to switch it up and go for Kamara because he's done okay in the last 2 pre-season games, but he's also missed a few chances pre-season. But Ndala just seems to have that confidence. He's a player that you want to get the ball to. And I don't know whether he'll start against Coventry, but he'll certainly be involved and have a big part to play before Miller's back, especially. So there's definitely a player in there because the last 2 clubs he's gone to have had the option to sign him for a few £1 million. They've not done that, but clearly he's valued quite high. And I think this is just a perfect opportunity for him to finally play some games at a proper senior level because he's only played academy football before. So I'm going to go for Joel Ndala.
Before you move on, I just remembered that Joe sent me his predictions. So I might as well say them to this point. His player of the season, he's given it to Hughes as well. And his young player is someone who briefly got mentioned, Nathan Tidsdale. He hasn't given any reasonings. He's just some of the names across. But to be fair, Tinsdale has looked very promising so far in pre-season, the brief moments we've seen him. So it would be interesting to see if he got someone who hasn't been mentioned as well. He had a great start, particularly in Turkey's Farrell Brown. It'd be interesting to see if he gets
Brown playable. I don't think Brown.
I don't either. But it'd be interesting to see what goes on there.
And the thing is with Tinsdale as well, the reason why he didn't come into my thinking was he's not a winger. And I think today against Getafe, you saw he wasn't really a winger. To be fair, he's not a winger, so I don't think he will even get minutes above the midfielders we've got, which is why I wouldn't have Tinsdale as it. But we might be proven wrong. Injury might happen or something. I mean, Casey Palmer's been very disappointing, so maybe you give Tinsdale a go in that.
Also,
but Harry Vaughan.
Harry Vaughan's a worth a shout. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I was going to say it's Crooks and Palmer really for that number 10 almost, and Palmer's not looked great, but
and they've played Crooksy more as a deep line midfielder.
Palmer's always looked better coming off the bench.
Yeah, Palmer's had one of the worst pre-seasons I think of the squad at the minute. I
always got the impression that Palmer was going to be sold or moved on, which just sort of highlights how we've signed players and almost immediately want to get rid of them. But I thought Palmer was one of those that I was not going to be shocked to see sold this summer, and maybe he thought that as well. And with all these restrictions, that hasn't happened, and he's maybe just a bit checked out.
Yeah, potentially. It's like with respect to Palmer, there's a player there, and he's got the attributes of like his dribbling, he's getting involved, his strength. But I think we're all in agreement. Coming off the bench probably suits him a lot better because when the game's been wearing on a bit, it's nice to have someone strong, physical, and fast to come on and
stretch the team he's playing against.
Stretch the team, but if you're trying to start a game and get a lead and get ahead, it's just his decision making which has let him down over and over again. And we saw that last season as well.
Yeah, he's not been a first choice player at any of the Championship clubs he's been at throughout his career, really. But maybe a period at Coventry. I think that's why he's gone to so many different clubs. He's at his 6th or 7th Championship club. It's because he's got that quality, but it's the consistency. So I wouldn't see him be sold. I think just because maybe he would have been, but because of the embargo, we're probably going to keep some people. But hopefully he'll play well against Coventry, against his former team on the opening day. So signing of the season, of course, we might not have made it yet. But we have made more signings than last year, so it's a bit easier to do that because I think most of us went for, was it Giles or Drame last year? And neither of them did very well at all. So a few more options to pick from. Will, who are you going for?
Again, it's probably going to end up being a boring answer. John Lundstrom. I think he's someone in midfield that we've missed since, even though they're not very similar, they're very different stature-wise, but I think in terms of what they can do with the ball, they're somewhat similar. There's someone we've missed since Seri left. someone who can get that ball and spray it out across all over the pitch, but he also has the added work rate and the sort of the strength and physicality that's maybe needed, especially in the Championship. And even though I haven't put him as a player of the season, he was my other choice, other than Charlie Hughes, for my player of the season. I think he will be. Someone's put in the comments, well, he's a better version of Richie Smallwood, which I know isn't massive high praise, but Smallwood did all the dirty things that the players needed to do, that was needed in the midfield, that we've missed for a while. And I think Lundstrom will do that in spades, but he also then has the technical ability as well to provide going forward.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I went with Lundstrom as well. I think we need that sort of physical body in midfield, breaking up the play. It's something that we haven't had for a while. So I think there was some sort of doubt about his fitness when he first got to Turkey, which I think he sort of turned around, and he's had quite positive reviews or assessments more recently in Turkey. So I think that's quite a positive. Obviously knows the league, knows the area as well. So I think hopefully that means he'll settle in reasonably quickly and be quite a positive one for us. But yeah, I think it sort of addresses an area of the field that I think we got overrun quite a bit last season, that even though people like Puerta and Zambrano might have been higher quality players technically, their stature, their physicality just wasn't what we needed in there to really sort of stop runs against us or stop teams sort of bullying us off the ball. So I think you look at someone like a Crooks, I think, as well, as came in January and was really instrumental in helping with that as well. And I think Lundstrom's another who's going to be really good for us.
Mm-hmm. And have you not gone for Lundstrom?
I have not gone for Lundstrom.
Oh,
I'm taking a totally different angle. I'm going for Semi Ajayi. And I think that we've needed, I mean, because as much as we loved Alfie Jones and Sean McLaughlin and obviously how dependable they were as members of the team, we've not really had someone who could chip in with goals from set pieces. We've been so bad at set pieces for years. And they're so important, because if you're chasing top six, sometimes set piece goals is the difference between finishing in the top six and not, and staying up and going down. Like last season, we just didn't score from corners, and we haven't done it consistently for a very long time. And I think someone like Ajayi will contribute at that end of the pitch on a regular fashion. He has got a goal scoring career as a centre back at many clubs he's been at. Like he scored 7 in one season before as a centre back, which is crazy. So he has it in his locker, and if we can keep him fit and he plays the full season, we've got an extra source of goals there, which might make up for the lack of strikers that we've got. So it'd be really important in that sense. He's very physical. He's very good on the ball. He's quick, so he's got good recovery pace to protect Drame when they're trying to push up the pitch and leaving them spaces in behind. He's got that recovery in him. I just think he's going to be a really important player for us this season. He's a kind of player that we needed to help sort of get that back four, moving the ball quicker, like we've been seeing in pre-season. And like I say, you call it all that into one. I think he'll be one of those unsung heroes that probably will get mentioned for player of the season.
Yeah, it's one of those, and if he keeps fit, he'll be solid. It's just
that's the main thing.
Worry about his injury record.
Yeah, but if he stays fit all season, I mean, we've got dependable backup in Egan. But he's obviously a bit slower and stuff like that than Ajayi is. And I think that's why Semi's been getting the nod in the couple of pre-season games, because I did expect Egan and Hughes.
For me, it was a solid hand as well.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be. Sergei seems to prefer Ajayi. So if we can keep him fit, maybe a run of games is what he needs in order to get that fitness back up again and stay consistently. But yeah, I think he'll have a good season.
Mm-hmm. Christine, have you gone for Lundstrom?
I put Lundstrom and Sammy down. So yeah. I mean, for those exact reasons, I can't. What's the point of me just reiterating exactly what you just said? Because, I mean, John deserves it just for that introduction. So he had me from day one when he did that one.
That was a good one.
It was a good one. It was. But you guys are right with what you said. He has that kind of, he's a better version of Smallwood. Who I don't know who mentioned it. Was it Coxey? In the chat, exactly that. He does the jobs that need doing. It's exactly that. He does those jobs that he needs doing, and we've missed players like that. We really have. So yeah, don't get me wrong, Lundstrom, brilliant. I'm really happy with the signing, but with respect to Sammy, and just wedded it perfectly from the set pieces, opportunities that were going up. You know, even those like clearances that he's doing from the back line at the moment, they're direct to somebody. They're not just a hit and hope, and he's creating something from that every time as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's just someone that I feel that we've needed in that role in a run of games. He's just going to get better and better and better. So far for signings defensively, Ian Ashby vibes, Scott States. You know what? I can understand it.
It's early for that.
I didn't want to give him that praise just yet.
But you can't give him. Yeah, I understand
good.
it. He's not. Calm down with the caliber. But yeah, I get. Yeah, we get what you're saying.
I'm surprised at how good he's been.
Yeah,
I would have thought that, you know, because Hughes and Egan had such a good partnership at the end of the season. I'm surprised that it hasn't been Egan. But again, I think even Ajayi, he is 31, but he's got that physicality that maybe
experience you can see
Egan
as well.
Doesn't have.
You can really see the experience when he plays. And
31 is still young. Calm down.
Yeah. Well, for a centre back, to be honest, it is, isn't it, nowadays? Certainly. Yeah.
No, I'm excited to see the rest of the season with Sammy. So I think he's going to be brilliant for us moving forward. I've got no issues.
Well, so far, for all of these categories, we've actually only had 2 answers. Even the Kubic question is either yes or no.
Oh, yes. So I might as well throw it in there. Joe said Lundstrom as well.
Oh, boring. I've written Lundstrom here, but let's switch it up. Let's finally, suggest something different. I'm going to do a stupid answer that with the next day we're going to find out whether that's wrong or not. But I'm going to say the best signing of the season is going to be Ollie McBurney.
Oh, Christ!
We need a striker, and I guess I can.
This will be good this will become good come May when he scored 25 for Ipswich Town.
Well, it'll be good, tomorrow.
Might be their signing of the season.
Well, precisely. Yeah, McBurney, Ollie McBurney. We need a striker, don't we? So, yeah. We want to have some fun on the episode, don't we? And lighten people's moods. So, you can all have a laugh at me next year. Yeah. Okay. Most improved player. Again, I'm guessing everyone's going to say Joseph or Slater. That's what I'm guessing.
No. Let me take the stage, Nathaniel, on this one.
Christian, I know who you're going to say. Yeah,
he's a bloody good lad.
He's a good lad, Jallo.
Giles has been under scrutiny from day one from me. Yes. Before he was, the load took by, he's always been under scrutiny from me. I have give that guy more grief than anybody else, any expert going. But Jesus Christ, he is coming this season.
The turnaround is just ridiculous.
It is
on pre-season.
This is the Giles that I guess Adjun promised us so far, and I can only see him getting better and better with the more games he's playing. The crosses that he's now swinging in, the style of footballers. I've seen him header a ball. Multiple times. It's shocked me. He's defending well.
I think 2 things come into it. One is I think he wanted his move to Middlesbrough and it didn't pay off, and he's reevaluated where he is currently in his career. And secondly, a manager's playing to his strengths.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. We've got a manager who wants his fullbacks to attack and go forward. His main thing, Real, is being an attacking fullback.
Mm-hmm. It is funny when you get someone playing in the right position, isn't it? Really, and we've said this so many times over and over again. But I will still say, with respect to Giles, even my brain thought, even playing Giles in the right position, he would never actually produce something. So, improvement-wise for me, I'm just gobsmacked. So sorry, I jumped the gun here, and I've changed the rotation of this. But
hey, I saw him hit sprint speed today, which I've never ever seen from Ryan Giles in Hull City share. He span a defender. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He got the ball. he like spanned a defender with a bit of skill and sprinted down the line and won a throw-in. And I sat there and went, bloody hell, where's he been for 2 years?
Yeah.
So who's actually picked Giles then? Me, Christian, I'm guessing Anne. Did you as well, Alex? Joe also has picked Giles.
Oh, wow.
Who have you picked, Nathaniel?
Well, I've gone Carl Joseph because I think, at least in pre-season, I mean,
he has
Giles,
Giles,
I forgot he was here last year because he has not been here for the last 6 months, or the 6 months of the season, the previous season. So I'm forgetful. I forgot McCarthy existed. That's why I didn't pick him. I'm very forgetful. So I haven't gone Giles. Plus, him being the most improved player, a player that we bought for however much money, I feel like he shouldn't, for doing the bare minimum and being a reasonable left back when we spent that much on him. I don't think that's valid.
Joseph was 2.5 as well, though.
Joseph was 2.5, but we were paying for his potential. And in pre-season, he looks fitter, he looks sharper. He's not in the scored.
He brought up his issues with his ankle, didn't he, last season as well? So it's clear there's been an issue there for a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm going to go slightly different, but for similar reasons. Cody Drameh.
Yeah,
because we've wanted marauding fullbacks, and I think Drameh, who has won Player of the Season at clubs he's been at before, is the kind of fullback who wants to be going forward, committing forwards, as we're seeing this summer. And he's probably been one of our best players of pre-season, is Drameh. And it's one of them where this position, obviously in a Jurkevic system, is so important. So I guess it's just which one of Giles and Drameh end up providing the most assists. But
Continuing the fullback thing as well, even though it's not for us, but in a general football sense, Brandon Williams may not be a bad shout in terms of improving from absolutely nowhere and possibly getting a second chance and being a decent fullback, because he's shown.
Sign him, don't we? We've got to sign him. I think already.
So I missed that.
Sergey's already hinted that he's going to offer him a contract. They're going to offer him a contract.
Was
I'd be amazed if they
didn't.
Today? He did, yes. He actually came on and played. Where did he play? Did he play right back today?
Yeah, it was right back. Yeah,
he played left right-footed. So he can play on either side.
He's right-footed left back.
Yeah, he's right-footed, so it is quite weird that people think he's a left back. He started as a right back naturally, and I think Ipswich just played him as a left wing back because he can play there. So it's good to have the variation, because poor Drameh has been playing 90 minutes, hasn't he? Because Coyle's injured. So I guess it was just to give Drameh a bit of a break, I guess. Put Williams on today.
Yeah, but with respect to Drameh, it's one of those where he's always had that bit of ability about him. I just think pecking order wise with previous managers, he obviously hasn't been there, but now he's got the opportunity to play to his strength. It is cemented that right back spot for me. So it's nice to see. I can't class it as an improvement. I just see it as the consistency of him playing, finally being able to actually stretch his legs a bit more and show his abilities that have been there. Like I said, he's already had player of the seasons at other clubs, and he just hasn't had that opportunity with us. And I don't want to call it a blessing in disguise with respect to Coyle being injured, but I don't see how Coyle could be better than Drameh at the moment in that role of Sergey Ball being that wing back. So I hope he does keep the spot. I really truly do. And I'm excited to see what he brings for the season as well. I'm excited for a lot of players. I'm excited for the season, guys. It's strange to say this, isn't it? We're excited for this season. So yeah, Sergey has brought a lot of faith back into the squad and the fans from that as a prospect. So yeah, looking forward to it.
I think we've all answered this one, have we? We've gone in a bit of an odd order, but I think we've all answered. Will, I think you said that we shouldn't have done this category, but hear me out. I will just bring up the flop category. I know, Will, you said you wanted to do a nice positive podcast, but
because this summer hasn't been negative enough.
No. Hear me out.
We're going to add some more negativity.
My flop of the season is the new away kit. I think the reaction on Twitter has been absolutely ridiculous.
Someone kick this man.
Average. It's
Someone
average.
kick this man from the chat.
Average at best.
Get him off.
This is what we need. Dan in our chat yesterday was saying it looks like pajamas.
Yes, it does.
Are you having a go?
Well, he's actually being serious, isn't he?
No,
it's in a joke.
It's not awful. It's not awful,
Well,
but
exactly.
it's just fine.
It looks nice.
It's fine.
It looks nice, but it looks like something you'd wear to bed.
It's nice of Nathaniel to show his lack of taste every now and then.
The home kit's not good either.
What?
Not.
Are you trying to
It's not even
trigger
got
me?
stripes. No. I don't like that. The shoulders is the only bit with the pattern on. It's got a plain amber.
Mate, I already know I'm 240 quid
in the
shy.
torso.
I already know I'm
home kit is, but I think the away kit's better than the home kit.
The flop of the season is Nathaniel's podcast career.
No.
Right now it is.
He had to give someone some reason online to give us some stick because it was going too well.
Yeah.
Please aim it at Nathaniel, none of us. We all think it's good.
I really hope Les isn't watching this because he'll hunt you down.
It's fine. Wait until you see the third shirt. I'm looking forward to seeing the third shirt. I hope that one's finally good.
I've seen the third shirt. I'm saying nothing.
Is it purple?
No, I'll tell you that. That's all I'm going to give you. It's not purple.
Cool.
It's a polka dot.
It's white. It's white in it. It's white. Go on.
I've given away my one hint. Nathaniel wasted it.
I wasted it. Sorry.
Yeah. Wasted on someone who doesn't even like the kit.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, sorry
I've
about
not
that,
written
but-
a flop down. I've not written down a flop.
No one's written down a flop.
No,
Well, the biggest flop so far is Nathaniel saying he doesn't like the kit. There you go.
Isn't
There
it?
it is.
I'm just, getting the engagement.
I've got a flop for you actually. Sky Sports' graphics for the EFL games this season.
Oh, I was going to mention that. You're completely right. It's awful.
They are bad.
They look
Scoreboard.
appalling. That's not an issue for Alex because he doesn't have to see them really.
Game's
But
gone.
they're awful.
I'll have to see what
Game's
being
gone.
sports come up with.
I don't really want
Don't
to.
put yourself through it.
I don't. To be fair, I know the least about Destan. So
I was
I
just
would
gonna
say
say
just
Destan,
on that basis. That,
Bullet headers every week.
but if McBurney doesn't sign, Destan might end up being a pretty decent striker because he has to play. So I'm hesitant to say any of the players.
It might be a decent striker.
Yeah, he might end up scoring 20 and then I'll look ridiculous. So no, I'm not even going to say.
No.
Just get off
He's
this
reasonably-
topic now.
Just look.
He's
just
reasonably
still
young,
out
so
there.
you don't know what's going to happen.
What's next? Top scorer.
Top scorer, yeah. I mean, you already know mine would be McBurney because I'm not going to say that the striker we're signing as player of the year wouldn't be the top scorer. So I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket on that because basically I don't trust literally anybody at the club, injured or not, to score more than 8, 7.
That's fair to
Not really. They might all chip in. And that's what we'll have to. Even when we were under Rossinia, no one got more than 12. So
Well, I was going to say, outside of Oscar, when's the last time we've had anyone score? Well, obviously Bowen, but I can't think of maybe someone in the League One season. Wilkes? I don't know.
Again, he's got nearly got 20.
Again, it's
in the
KLP
season.
also.
that was
KLP
League
got
One
15.
Farmers.
Yeah,
I would have got 20 in that team.
you wouldn't have done though, would you, Nathaniel?
25. Plus, in all competitions.
When you have McGuinness scoring direct free kicks or whatever he did, it's
You think this is an interesting one actually because do we think that Kamara will have a better season this season than last?
No.
Because if we do, he got 5 last season.
Yeah, to be
He's
fair.
our top
So
scorer.
if he does more,
Since December.
he might actually be a shouting.
But no,
Top
it can't
scorer.
be because the second Balumi's fit and going, Kamara's not going to touch a blade of grass ever again.
Balumi would be a good shout to be fair because what was he
That's
on?
it. Balumi's probably going to be the one to be it.
I
I
went
mean, the way
Balumi.
we play it.
He scored in
Like,
one match last year. We're
We're going to
probably
think
hyping
the
him
long
up a
ball
bit too
deliveries coming
much.
from the left, aren't they? Those crosses are coming in from the left hand side mainly. That we've seen in pre-season. I'm not saying that it's all coming in from there 24/7. I'm just saying the bulk of it has come from a Giles cross that have looked
So-
more threatening.
Top scorer.
Balumi.
Oh, we're not going round again.
Yeah, go on, go on,
Will,
Will.
go on.
Well, this is interesting because I picked Destan.
Oh, dear
As it
me, that's a
stands.
bold shout.
That's fair.
There are 2 reasons. Well, 3 reasons. One, in hope. 2, purely because pretty much didn't score last season, so at law of averages, I'll hopefully cancel that out. And I mean, I want him to hit the ground running as well for that reason. And a part of me is also thinking, I kind of want it to happen as proof that gambling on unknowns from Turkey is worth doing.
We're due one, aren't we?
That's true.
Because even like our best Turkish player that we've had under Adrian, Ozan, had experience in England at Watford. It wasn't a complete unknown. So a part of me is wanting Destan to be our top scorer out of hope.
When he was playing for Trabzonspor the season before, he actually scored 12 in all competitions. That's double what Pedro got.
I think Will,
he was only coming off the bench.
Will must be the first person in history to ever predict a top scorer for this season because he didn't score a single goal last season.
It's got to cancel itself out. It has to cancel itself out. Let me dream. And I know in May I'll look either like a clot or a genius.
I don't know. Top scorer with us is so difficult. Do you know what? No, I'm going rogue. Regan Slater.
Oh,
because
he's also due a goal scorer.
Last season,
you've got to apologise for that right now.
Last season, he should have been our top scorer with about 7 or 8.
He should have been above 14. The averages have to cancel itself
and he missed
out.
them all. I feel like this season, playing in his favoured box-to-box position,
every single one will go in.
These late runs into the box with the ball coming in, he might get back to prime Regan this season.
Prime Regan gets 5 goals.
No, he doesn't. Last season, he got 10 if he had his head screwed on. He missed about 9 sitters at least.
He did, to be honest. He did.
On the topic of Kamara, then, where it's interesting because we have Bellumi and Miller out injured at the moment. We've got a few other things. I'm really curious to see where the starting 11 or the favoured 11 gets to, call it by November, December, before we get to January, before any other changes get made. When you think, theoretically, if Miller and Bellumi get back to full fitness and are basically walk-up starts every week, Ndala, Kamara sat on the bench. Coyle, when he's fit, is he just sat on the bench? There's going to be a few interesting dilemmas in terms of keeping players happy.
When Matazo's back, who does he replace in midfield?
Yeah. And you think Kamara actually finished last season with our most goal contributions, but goals plus assists. You don't want to destroy his transfer value. So if you are looking at moving him on or developing him further, you want to be playing him somewhat regularly. So whether we just rotate through the options, and Matazo is the other great shout, So what we do with him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matazo's got to be straight in though, isn't he? He's got to be. He's brilliant. Matazo's got to be straight in.
Sorry, but as in like what, starting over Crooks perhaps if he's playing deeper or.
That's it. Who does he come in for?
Yeah, I mean, look,
it'll be whoever's not performing the most at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly that because we've always moaned about not having enough depth, and now the players are coming back from injury, and you've got that bit of depth. It is always the person who's not going to be performing well at that particular point is going to be the person who's going to be subbed out because the quality of someone like Matazo and Bellumi and Miller. I mean, look at that straight away. You've got Lundstrom, Matazo, Bellumi, Miller, and Dala. That sounds really nice.
Still have Zambrano back.
And Zambrano, oh my God, could you?
I'd love to see Matazo and Zambrano play together. That would be godly.
Yeah, that would be.
But I always look at Getafe against Getafe this morning. So we had Crooks, Lundstrom, and
Palmer.
Palmer was the number 10.
Palmer
all started. So Slater's not even starting there. So then you're saying, okay, so Matazo potentially maybe he replaces Lundstrom, and Lundstrom's just there as a stopgap. But
I think of those three, he'd replace Palmer, and you'd move Crooks further forward.
Yeah,
I prefer Crooks to start. To be honest. I think he's more of a goal threat, and we've just talked about this. We need goals from somewhere.
Yeah.
So
then you've got Slater on the bench. Does Slater then want to look for a move to get more game time? Like it starts to get interesting with some of those players.
Yeah.
Rotation as well, because fitness for a lot of the guys as well coming in and out. There's a lot of games. It's Saturday, Tuesday. Cup games.
Yeah,
I mean, God, you never know. We might even go on a cup run. I mean,
I doubt it. Not
wishful thinking. I'm positive thinking.
Who's been picked as top scorers?
I'm saying McBurney. Destan. Christian?
I said
Joe's
Bellamy.
picked Balumi for the record.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Mo. I'm gonna stick with Mo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, even though I
Alex?
think Ant Shout is gonna be
Slater.
Slater. That's stupid.
Do you know what? No,
Stupid,
I love
Ant.
it. I love it. I love it.
I love the confidence.
Yeah, because McBurney's not signing, and we're going to get loads of goals from Slater.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
I
whether
can't
McBurney's
be
signing or
someone
not.
who isn't
Slater
here.
won't be top scorer. Oh, Alex, what did you say?
Yeah, I said Bellamy as well.
Okay. I mean, again, I struggle to pick a player that's currently not even fit. But
I think he'll
Yeah.
get 7 or 8, and that could be enough.
it could be
But
enough.
that's the
couldn't
thing.
it?
Yeah, he could come
would've
on
been
and
last
score a
year.
hat
Yeah,
trick and
top
be the
scorer
top
doesn't
goal
say how
scorer.
many they get.
Yeah. Slate.
Our top scorer will be Earn Girl.
Yes, like the Euros. Yeah.
That's
okay.
a good silly prediction.
Shall we do the mad prediction before the final position? Shall we do that?
I would have done it last overall.
All right then. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're all most of the predictions I've seen was on Gabe Sutton's show recently. He said we'd finish in the bottom 3, and I know, and I don't expect every
Understandable
single person.
from most people looking out from the outside. Us and Sheffield Wednesday are pretty much dead sets. It seems from the outside to go down.
The Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday are in a horrible old mess. I really feel for them, and I hope they can get out of it. But at the same time, they're done for at least this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope they don't go bust, but I'd like to see them in League Two.
If they even finish the season, that's the thing.
That's true. It might be like a Turkish league where they finish the season with fewer clubs than they started.
They've only got 15 players, so yeah.
And it's less now. Another half of those have put their notices in.
Well, I saw Bannon signed a new deal.
Fair play to Barry Bannon, yeah. Fair play to that man for sticking around when he could easily have got out and got way more money than he's probably getting now, because I think they've got a $7,000 wage cap. So that means, I think the belief is he was on 40 grand a week at Wednesday. So he's taken a 33 grand pay cut to stay there.
40 grand.
So it shows he loves that club to some extent, and he has such a respect.
He loves
for
them
the fact
because
that
he's
club.
been paid 40 grand for 10 years. That's why.
Maybe, but he ain't now when he's staying there.
Yeah. All right.
Paying the back a bit, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. All right then. Everyone's been a whole lot more positive than all the other predictions. So I'm thinking some people are even going to push top half. Will, what are you going
Not
for?
a chance.
No.
With McBurney, possibly. Without, absolutely not.
Yeah, true. Well, go
on. I am playing it very safe, just because of what's happening off the field. Just makes me feel so concerned, about the future of the club. But I do think we've got a team and a manager who will be on the field, keep us in a sensible position, I think. But I thought I'll play it safe. I'll still say a low number. So I've gone with 20th, which I know is quite low. And I think for a few people, considering how waxing lyrical like Kirovic and how the football style is, and how we let the players look at the players. But there's something I just can't bring myself fully to be like, oh, we're safe. I still think you never know, there might be a twist or a turn the way that the club is at the moment. So 20th, but I'm hoping it's higher.
That's fair. It's very difficult. I think more difficult than normal. Alex?
The past couple of weeks have changed it massively, though, to be fair as well.
Yes.
It would have been definitely 23rd before.
Horribly negative of you, Will. I also said 20th. I think you listen to a few neutral previews that have said, a lot of them I've heard is 23rd, 22nd sort of thing, because I think everyone's got Wednesday last. Understandable that neutrals don't necessarily have the same optimism as us, but it also suggests there's a potential that, people can get a bit carried away with preseason results, and as positive as they've been, once the real stuff starts, we just have to see how the quality of the squad goes, because it is easy to forget how poor we did look at times last season. Now, whether that was the tactics or whether it was the personnel, we'll see in the coming weeks and months. Obviously, getting Bellamy Miller back will be a big positive, but then we had an awful run with injuries last season. knock on wood, it doesn't happen again this season, but you never know as Ant sort of alluded to as well, we don't know if Balumi and Miller come back at the same level that they were before their injuries. I think if we were, you also just have to look at the quality of the teams in the league this season. You look at the teams that have come up in Birmingham and Wrexham, even Charlton looking reasonable under Jones. It's not a league where you'd say there's an obvious bottom three that we just have to be better than. But I think teams like even Watford, I think I sort of expected them to be really sort of plummeting, but they're starting to do a bit of good business too. And I mean, biased goggles on, so they've signed Nestroy Irukunda, who's an Australian kid from the Australian club that I support. So I was a bit filthy that we weren't, sort of in the market for him. But I just sort of think someone even like Watford are doing reasonably well. So there's not many clubs that I'd expect to do worse than us. So I had to put us in 20th. Yeah, anything above relegation, I'll take that this year.
Yeah, definitely.
And has your prediction gone up from probably what we all thought, which was pretty much next to Sheffield Wednesday a few weeks ago or a month ago?
I had us down for 22nd on one I did. But I think after, and I get what Alex is saying about people getting carried away in pre-season stuff. I don't think you should really look at the results, but what you do look for in pre-season is, are the players taking to what the manager's asking them to do?
It's the tactical stuff.
Yeah. Are those relationships on the pitch developing, the partnerships across the pitch, the patterns of play, the style of play, I think is so important, obviously, for the fans that have been enduring whatever we've endured in the stadium for the last 2 years. You want to see some more faster tempo, more intense football, and that's what we're getting. And I think that given the circumstances, the signings that we're pulling out the bag, I'm really impressed. And I think it's gone from where I was probably thinking this is going to be an absolutely torrid season, even worse than last, and we're going to be having a battle for who can't be the worst championship team between us and Wednesday. We've got plenty of championship experience in that squad now, mixed in with a bit of energy, mixed in with a bit of flair, and I just think that this manager knows how to win games of football, and we've got players now that have been there, done that, tried and tested at this level many times before. You're talking, hundreds of games at this level now. So, I'm pretty positive. So I'm not going to get too carried away and say we're going to be challenging the top 10 or anything like that. I don't think we've got enough goals in the
20th?
team for that. I'm going 16th.
Ooh,
Nice. Nice. I think that's a fair bet to be optimistic, but also understand the issues at the club. Yeah.
Just not be bothered about, be safe with games spare kind of thing.
Yes.
We're not lighting the league apart. We're just safe and comfortable, and we can try and do something next summer, hopefully, with the ban reduced.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to the last home game of the season not being terrified like last season.
Yeah.
Well, all of the home games last season being terrified would be nice, because it was, maybe the first
kind
few
of terrifying.
Right. Well, no, but anything after that, it was. Christian?
It's a pretty tricky one for me to follow up after saying all that for a man, because
I've changed your mind, haven't I?
No, you haven't, because I was 16th as well, mate, for the exact same reasons.
Well, I'd
and
written 16th as well.
I've written 16th. There we go. And it's exactly that.
This is boring, isn't it, really?
Football. It is. It's crazy. Like, you don't even speak to each other, but Ant literally hit the nail on the head. The style of football compared to the previous seasons is evident. And though we're not going to be banging in goals left, right, and centre, because we still have a striker forward situation issue. But I now feel those games that we looked at last season, where it was like we lost 1-0 in the last minute, or we should have won 1-0 and it ended up being a draw. I feel these are the games with this type of style and the football that we're currently seeing. Yeah, again, I appreciate it's pre-season, but it is positive and it's different to last season. And I feel the way we're playing at the moment, those games that we should have actually had last season, we will win or get something from, at least. Instead of dropping a point, we're gaining a point. Instead of losing 3 points we're gaining them again. And I feel that's where we're at now, that kind of balance. I'm not saying that we're going to go all out and score goals and win every game. Not a chance. It's going to take a bit longer than a couple of friendlies to change our mind on that one and a bit more depth. But as Ant stated, the football itself and the way the players are reacting to Sergei's ball and tactics, it's really positive to see. So I don't see us having that kind of issue where we're looking at those games again and going, we should have won that. We should have got a point from that. I don't feel like it will be that this season. I feel like, yeah, we did well and we got the right result for the style of football that we did. And when we come to losing the games, or if we do lose any games, whatever, I'm not trying to be the negative, so we're going to lose. I just feel that will come against a team that obviously deserves it over that. The quality on their depth of the opposition will be better than ours. But I guarantee our football won't be, we're going to use a midfield this time. Okay.
Well, yeah.
We're not going to bypass it.
It was Volta's fault, wasn't it? That's why we're in a relegation battle.
Yeah, from start.
Didn't win 1 in 10. But we don't have him anymore. So if we start the season...
Well, it wasn't just the 1 in 10 result, was it, Nathaniel? The players' heads went. The mentality went that we were a broken team under Walter, and no matter who came in, you weren't going to repair it within that season. The players needed a break. The players needed the heads clearing out. Sergei's come in with this attitude and this mentality of what he wants and this full stats sent out. And he communicates well, like we said, with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just evident to see at the moment the football's attractive and entertaining. I'm going to keep saying the word entertaining.
And I think it's... Sorry, no, it's okay. To Ant's point, sort of counter to my own point about pre-season. I think that's a big win to have the players and the supporters on side, so that even if the results aren't necessarily amazing to start with, at least not the players aren't, losing their heads, losing their trust in the manager, because we have this established foundation from pre-season, which I think will give us that time to sort of gel that in and really sort of push on in the season.
Yeah, I've gone for 16th. I agree with all the points being made so far. I think 16th for me is we could get a bit higher if we got a McBurney in, for example, because I think the squad's pretty solid, especially at this level. There's just no goals in it. If you add goals to it, we'll do okay. If you don't have goals, then we'll probably be 20th. I'm thinking we get to 4 positions higher, 12th-ish, or 4 positions-ish lower, and maybe just stay up without McBurney. So I'm going to go halfway in between that and say 16th, which I really like.
Joe, the absolute negative bastard, has gone for 22nd.
Oh, boo.
So kick him off the podcast. He's gone.
Yep.
No more free holidays for you, Joe.
Leave the lad alone.
All right. Okay. Well, speaking of mad predictions like that, we've all prepared one crazy prediction, which I can't remember what Joe said. Was this for like the whole EFL, or was this?
Well, I've been very greedy. I've written 5, and only one of them City related.
Oh God. Okay. Well, Will, do you want to do one, and then we'll all do each other's, and we'll just go back to you one at a time.
Well, I'll get rid of Joe's first. Joe predicts the Umbra kit deal gets resurrected. He hasn't written any more, but I'm going to assume he means mid-season, and we have to change kits halfway through the season.
All the kits are rubbish.
The first one I'm going to say is going to be the Hull City related one, and it is that the amazing all-access documentary that Adrian Ilagella said he was in the middle of doing at the Q&A, it never sees the light of day.
That's a sensible
prediction. We never see it. It doesn't happen. Simply put.
I can't. I'm sorry. Do you know what? You've mentioned mine, so that skip me for this one because that's exactly what I put.
Thank God I picked 5 then. I know that I've said that. I give that to Christian.
That's exactly what I put down.
Yeah, I don't know how silly mine is, or if mine's just sort of unlikely. So I said Jurkovic to win Manager of the Month
Yeah.
at some point during the
Do you
season.
know what?
Which month?
I don't think
I don't
that's a
hear that.
crazy prediction.
That's not a
Yeah,
bad
that's
shout.
like I really
If we have a
struggled
good run
for
of
something
form, you
silly.
never know.
I really struggled for something silly, so I was like, "Oh, let's go something that's
Well,
quite unlikely."
I'd see that happening. Like normally, like I'd say what's more crazy is Ajin doesn't fire a manager. That's even that's
True.
How about what about win over 5 home games for the season? That's pretty unlikely,
How
isn't it?
many
That's
did we
pretty
win
mad,
last year? Was it 5? Was it 4?
It's
What's
unprecedented.
It was 4, wasn't it?
The
Is it 4 last
outlandish
season?
one, Hull City to have a top half home form table.
Yes.
That's impossible. No, no.
I like that. I like that.
Have we not had one since?
Oh, I'm sure we would have done so under a senior. That season. I mean,
Yeah, I think our home under a senior at the end.
I
By
thought
the
we
end
were
of the season was
13th.
probably.
I thought we were 13th.
We were mid-table, weren't we? Yeah.
Let me have a look, and you can do yours. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to write them down.
Man's. I think that at least once this season, we absolutely hammer a team, and I'm talking 5 or 6 goals in one game. And
Like you thinking, Southampton
goals from all over the pitch,
again.
like 5, 6 different scorers. It just comes out absolutely nowhere. We just absolutely hammer somebody. And it's been a while that we've proper trounced someone. I think Cardiff was probably the last one, wasn't it? And that was 4.
No, Sheffield United.
Top 6 in. And Sheffield United was 3. I know.
It was at Bramall Lane, though.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a proper 5-6-0 drubbing. No, that
Yeah, it'll be Cardiff.
and we won't concede more than 3 at all.
I'm not saying anything. Someone else say something.
I'll give you another one of my silly ones. This one ain't really silly, but I think it will happen at some point this season. This is a general football one. A player will be sent off for attacking a referee at some point this season.
And that player will be Lundstrom.
Probably a
No,
goalkeeper.
this is a football general one. It could be anyone.
It'll be Lundstrom.
Maybe. Come on, Nathaniel. Haven't you got a silly prediction, or are you just writing it down?
I'm still writing down the home form.
Okay, then I'll give another one of mine. England will fail to qualify for the World Cup, and Serena Wiegman will be brought in.
Failed to qualify for the World Cup. See, that really is mad, isn't it?
I've saved my 2 best ones for last.
That really is mad.
It's one of
Do I
those
need to give them out?
time back for Hull City in January.
No, both of them are technically Australian related. That's kind of why I put them in here.
Hey, this is a good one because the EFL have this big habit of bringing in a new rule and then just stopping doing it after about 2 months. Do you remember when they were doing every single bit of stoppage of play was added on, and you were getting like 100 and you were getting like 15 minutes of added time at the end of games?
Yeah, every month at least one game has it still. Yeah, but for the most part, no one does it.
They keep trying to change it, but then they don't stick with it.
One of the first of my 2 Australian-related predictions I've got left. Jackson Irving captains St. Pauli to the Bundesliga title.
It's not going to happen.
not bad.
It's not going to happen.
These are meant to be silly.
Yeah. Well, okay. My silly prediction was that Longman will come back. Obviously. I had to mention him.
When Wrexham come to Hull?
No, we'll sign him on loan. We'll need a winger. Melon and Bellamy will get ACLs again, and we'll panic.
And
we'll get him.
My final silly prediction, which is the absolute silliest of all of them, and Alex will agree with this, England will win the Ashes.
And you would be Ashes related.
And it will happen. Just saying that we'll win one of the 5 tests is silly.
I might even try to get to it this year. I haven't gone before.
Yeah, I like the prediction we're signing Dele Alli. I mean, it's not even out of the realms of possibility, to be honest.
I hope it is. I mean, I'd like to think it is.
Yeah, maybe, but it's because he's played in Turkey. That's why. Okay, so I've written down the home form league positions. Tim Volter returns
Christ.
to manage
They've
Sheffield
been through
Wednesday.
enough.
They have been through enough.
They've
Yeah.
suffered enough, yeah. Leave them alone. Leave Sheffield Wednesday alone.
All right. Well,
It did throw me off when I saw Henry Pedersen had been made Sheffield Wednesday manager. And then I found out it was a different Henry Pedersen to the one who played for Hull City.
Yeah, I thought that would have been a player. Yeah.
So Volter still doesn't have a club to manage, which is surprising
No, he doesn't.
given how.
I think that means he's the only former manager we're still paying, isn't he? Then, as a result,
probably, yeah.
Okay, so this is the home form we've had for the last 5 years, or I can go back further, but 24th, 13th under Liam Rossignol, when we finished 7th, we had a 13th best home form. 15th, which was the
Shota Rossignol season.
Yeah. 22nd under McCann and Arveladze. 24th when we got relegated to League One. Obviously, I think.
So in other words, what you're saying is the last decent one was the season there was no fans in the ground.
Yes.
In League One.
In League One, I think, and then it was 11th, 20th, 13th, 2nd when we got promoted.
Second with the Bruce promotion, yeah.
Yeah, 18th when we got relegated under Bruce.
And we only lost one home game that Bruce promotion season. That was to Derby.
Ooh.
So
we lost to him in the league, and then we lost to him in the playoffs at home as well. It's the only time we lost to it.
You're right.
It's the theory of if fans had been in the stadium in that League One season, would we not have done as well?
Oh, we would have booed McCann out of the.
McCann wouldn't have been in the job. Put it that way. We might have still gone up.
There was that little. When was it that Lewis Potter got benched because there was the contract issues? We had that little
midway through the season. There was that period, yeah.
I think it was
really bad.
He seemed to have some sort of clause that he'd get a wage increase after a certain number of starts. So he wasn't starting suddenly.
I think if fans had been in the stadium, that could have gotten a bit.
That could have gone very sour.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it didn't. We were fine.
Yeah. We got promoted. I mean, it led us to Ajnel Ajela and all the wonderful decisions he's made. Of course.
Stop now. Just stop now.
Well, things at the moment, right this second, are looking up. Obviously, we have a hearing next week. Things could get better or worse after that. It's not going to be a fun day on Twitter, whether it's a good result to that or not, because there's going to be a lot of told you so, and there's going to be a lot of just nonsense. So, we'll be here after the Coventry game to hopefully give some nice insight on that as well. I suppose the last prediction is what's the result going to be away at Coventry? I mean, they're
we're not doing the who's going down and who's going up.
Oh, who cares? Well, go on. We can do that, but I'll get my prediction out of the way. The 3 teams that got promoted to the Premier League are going to get relegated.
And the 3 teams that got relegated from the Premier League are going to go back up. Is that what you want to say?
I don't think Leicester will.
Yeah, of course they will, because that's just a new format. Premier League is a 17-team league now. So.
I actually think, even though I've been so concerned and against the idea of the 3 that go up are going to come straight back down, and it's going to just make it a bigger and bigger gap in a close shop, I actually think someone's going to stay up in the Prem.
Leeds have a chance, maybe.
That's not the team I was thinking.
Sunderland are too young.
The one that we beat. Yeah, I think the one that we beat.
It's a team that we can beat aren't staying up in the Premier League now. The Spurs finished 17th last year. No one is staying up. It's just not possible.
I think Brentford potentially with Frank.
They are gone. Yeah, my bottom 3 are Burnley, Leeds, Brentford. Brentford are.
Sunderland's problem is Sunderland lose half their team at AFCON. Is their problem?
That's a good point.
I've actually got Wolves to go down, but I think they're the only other one at risk.
And I think in terms of getting promoted from us, I do think Ipswich will go back up. I think Southampton will go back up. But I do think Birmingham will go up as well. I think Birmingham are more likely than Wrexham.
I've got Sheffield.
Yeah, well, Birmingham are definitely better than Wrexham, but I don't. Wrexham and Birmingham, they're not getting top 6 for me. Nah. I think football's boring now, and it'll be the same
I think
through
Wrexham
going up
will
and down
struggle.
forever.
You know, I actually do think Wrexham will struggle because this league has proven that the teams that are in it. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had the come up and then go straight up and things like that. But I think last season kind of proved stability on.
I think Wrexham will be mid-table. They won't be
They won't bother promotion places, but they won't go down. Wrexham.
They won't go down.
They've signed like older, experienced players
that'll keep them in stability in the
they'll probably
Championship.
regret it when they look at their accounts in 2 years' time and they're trying to shift these players that are 34, 35 years old.
When PSR kicks in on them,
But that's the wake-up call of the Championship, and it's a totally different world to those two bottom leagues where, you know, when you're trying to shift players on big wages and stuff, and they're like, you know, these guys will keep us up, but they become a retirement home. And then when it comes 2 or 3 years down the line, when you're wanting to sign new players and you've got a squad overloaded with OAPs and no one will buy them, I think that's when they'll have a bit of a wake-up call. But,
I don't think Wrexham's ceiling is this league, to be fair. I think their income streams do put them very much near the top of the league. I think I saw something that like their international revenue's higher than some Premier League teams.
Yeah, it's
just
crazy.
Quite wild.
The thing that holds them back for me is the manager.
Yeah, the manager, but
I think he gets sacked before Christmas, and they get a new
that's not a bad shout. Parkinson. Yeah. I'm like somewhat like Parkinson. I mean, he didn't have a great time here, but he's not championship level.
But it's, you know, 2 years ago they were in League Two, so of course their squad is going to need a lot of overhaul before it's challenged. It's, you know, Birmingham were a championship club 2 years ago, whereas Wrexham were League Two. So I think that's why their squads are so different. And I think, you know, Wrexham were planning for promotion each year, but that doesn't mean that they were signing championship players last season. Like they were getting Ryan Longman potentially.
How dare you?
Not a top half championship player, but a good League One player. So each year they're just bringing in higher quality players, but it just means that they're a year or two away from any sort of push for a Premier League spot.
Who else does everyone think is at risk of going down from the Championship other than
Preston,
Sheffield Wednesday?
Preston definitely.
Well, I've got two names down. I think Charlton will be fine. I've got down. I don't know if they'll go down, but I've got written as possibles as Blackburn because they have, since Eustace left them, they have just fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
I've got them bigger mess than we are.
And also, I don't think they'll go down, but I've got them written just as a possible as Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough seem to have. Have you actually looked at how Middlesbrough's going at the moment?
Yeah, it's messy as well. They're messy as well.
Yeah, but they won't go down.
They'll have enough.
I don't think they will, but I think a lot of people didn't think Sunderland would go down the season they did go down.
They were just crap.
I think Stoke.
I've got Stoke, as well.
I thought they'd signed some good players, though.
I think jury's still out on how Robbins goes without Vervesh, and I think Stoke as a club is just sort of circling that drain for so many seasons.
They'll go at some point.
Well, to be fair, Stoke lost their genius behind the scenes in Jared Dublin, so they're knackered, to be quite honest. And I'm not.
I mean, it's really going to be that kind of. It's tricky to nail on its head after last season, isn't it? I mean, look, we're in that category, obviously.
Oh yeah, we're definitely in that category as well.
Yeah, we're in that.
The Oxford's not a bad shout, to be fair.
Yeah, well, again, Oxford.
I think Roward's a good manager, though.
Yeah.
It's just the second season thing that happens to a lot of clubs. They could be at risk of that.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those where we have to look at the teams that when we were back end of the season, those last few games that we should have won. If you recall, the teams that we were playing some of them were just absolutely dire. Even though we were still losing them, we knew our football was dire, but we weren't expecting the oppositions to be as bad.
Also, the other thing that's making me worry about Borough is their manager, because he got relegated last season.
Yeah, but I think that was probably just because that was the way Luton were going.
You say that, but how do you go that quick the other way, even with the same manager?
Yeah, I think Luton needed a reset. They almost stayed up. Of course, Bloomfield improved them, but Middlesbrough will be fine.
Who do we think's going up then? Because we've mentioned down and down and down, but
I think Ipswich will.
Ipswich, Southampton,
who's winning it though?
Birmingham.
Who's winning it?
Ipswich for me are going to win.
Ipswich.
Yeah, I think we're.
I don't actually know what's going on.
They've essentially got.
They have a good squad.
They've essentially got a championship dream team of like 2 seasons ago.
Well, Philogene,
They've got half house.
They've got Philogene.
What we're saying, Sheffield United in
they've
playoffs.
got Clark. They've got Hutchinson still.
Well, Sayers at Sheffield United is an interesting one. Do you think Sayers?
I think they'll
get some.
I think they'll get playoffs. I think they'll get playoffs
and
fail
are they
again.
going to win it? You fail again.
I think they've got playoffs. Yeah, for me.
Just looking at their pre-season's really interesting as well. They've had some good results. It's nice to see it like that he's doing all right. As in Sellers, I mean, he's doing all right.
But it's just going to be another season of people telling, half the City's supporter base will be saying it's nice to see Sayers doing well. The other half will be saying move on. He's not our manager anymore, just like we had with Senior.
Yeah, but I think I'm always going to wish other than one manager, the German. I'm going to wish all ex-managers a full, good luck and everything. You've got even Parkinson at Wrexham, go on, mate, crack on, do what you need to do.
I don't know. I'd maybe not wish Ian Dowie well.
Well, yeah. I get that one. Like Oliver just put there, if Sellers starts badly, though, he might not have a good time. Look, if Sellers does start badly in the league Sellers will.
He'll be on a high to nothing, yeah.
Best manager gone, I think. Because United won't want to mess about after how well they did last season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look where they were.
I think Sayers might be relatively safe, personally, just because the people that brought him in seem to be really behind this whole AI-driven way of running their transfer business and all that, and that was part of why they picked Sayers as well as their manager. Feels like they're putting all their eggs in that basket, and they probably don't want to pull out of that so quickly. I think he might have more time than you'd expect. Now I'm saying that he'll probably be gone by the end of the month.
By tonight, yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I guess they're not Watford though. It'll be an interesting season, really. Even if Leeds stay up in the Premier League, I won't like that. But you do want to see that, 17 be ruffled up a bit, and some teams stay up and go down that you don't expect. I mean, Luton was a huge shock last year because you would have thought that they would probably go straight back up, and then they went down. So I guess that can happen. But
I know if City is struggling for a striker still come deadline day, I think get Michel Adjiman in. That might do it.
Well, we haven't mentioned that on this episode. We did last week, but Will, you're a huge fan of Wiegman. Do you want to just mention the Euros for a bit?
Well, yeah, since it seems to annoy people, I'm very glad that we have women who can play football and play it well and actually win stuff, unlike the men.
Yeah. I got to say, I mean, they did play well at times in the final, but I don't know how they got through. No,
I love the fact they won it in the most shithouse way possible the whole tournament.
Yeah, the most English way possible, really, isn't it? By not being the better team, but just trying harder.
And having a fullback who actually has the middle name Tough, playing the entire tournament with a fractured leg.
Yes.
Crazy.
One of the best goals I've seen live is still Sam Kerr scoring against your lot at the.
That was a good goal line in the World Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's very early for you, Alex. It's very late for us.
It's nearly midnight here.
Yeah. So, any final comments before we wrap this up? And we can do our predictions for the commentary match.
Oh yeah, we had none, boy.
3-0 commentary.
Yeah, screw it. 3-0 Hull City. I'll just continue the run.
Lovely.
I
can't agree, but
I think maybe we score early, and then they might pick us back. But I think a draw would be best.
So I'd take a draw. I'd definitely take a draw.
I'd bite your hand off for a draw. Absolutely, I would. Just keep that momentum going. Hopefully, not burst the bubble. That'd be good. Yeah. And
I'll go
1-1.
Christian?
1-1. Yeah, 1-1.
I mean, I'm fascinated to see who you think is going to score a goal. Own goal?
Regan
He's not Regan.
Hat-trick.
Charlie Hughes from a corner.
Yeah, I like that.
Giles cuts inside and pings it from 35 yards out, and he gets the top corner.
No.
Don't tease us, Christian.
This is me talking. What am I doing? I feel dirty by being this nice about Giles right now. After spending a year season.
Palmer scoring would be the best poetic justice, just because it's
an absolute peach of a free kick into the top corner like he did against us.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that very much so. Right, well, we've got through a huge amount of stuff there. It's probably one of the longest episodes we've ever done. Alex, thanks as always for joining us.
No problem.
Yeah. Do you want to just plug your own show for a bit as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back for our first episode of the season. I think at this stage it's looking like Tuesday night, our time, so Tuesday morning over there. Obviously, the Tigers down under. It will be our final season as things stand. As sort of evidenced by we haven't managed to grab anyone else for this episode. I think real life's starting to get in the way for a few of our members. So we'll be wrapping things up after this season. But yeah, come tune in and get a slightly different perspective on all things Hull City.
Okay. Well, Christian and Will, thanks for joining me. And yeah, we're really looking forward to getting going into a new season. If you have waited, the whole 1 hour 47 minutes with us and have watched the whole thing, thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, I've missed the football. It'd be great to have it back, won't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, remember to like and subscribe because we'll have an episode every week. And of course, we've got Tigers Talk on Wednesday nights as well. So thanks very much for joining. And here's to another, hopefully extremely eventful and exciting season following the Tigers. So we'll see you next week.